Hello everyone and welcome to this session of PragatiE Vichaar Literature Festival. We have with us Ms. Scherr. She is one of the survivors, somebody who has gone through and very closely watched terrorism, very closely looked at extremism. She's one of the survivors, one of the persons who saw the entire 26/11 episode, the Mumbai attack as it is called. So welcome Kia, how are you?
I'm glad to be with you today and to have this opportunity to share. Yes.
Fantastic. I guess our audience would be interested, really interested in kind of setting the context of how it happened, where were you, and what went through.
Okay. Now, just to clarify, I was not directly in India myself. It was my husband and my 13-year-old daughter who were with the meditation group, and they were staying at the Oberoi Hotel. Mm-hmm. And they were in the restaurant at the time that the terrorist attacked. I was in Florida visiting my family for Thanksgiving, and we had to watch the whole thing unfold on the news. So we were watching CNN, and we had called the State Department, letting them know we had family who were not accounted for. And we had to just, it took, as you know, the terrorist attack on a Wednesday evening, India time, and it went on for about 2.5 days before the whole thing had completed. And by the time, so we got our first call on Wednesday evening, and then it wasn't until Friday morning that I received a call from the US consulate in Mumbai telling me that Alan and Naomi had both been shot and killed by the terrorists.
That must have been extremely, extremely shattering, I'm sure. And specifically sitting, so far away, sitting on almost the other corner of the world. How did you cope up with it?
I mean, all we could do during that time was hope and pray. And naturally, we told ourselves that they must be hiding somewhere. They must be safe. And that was our prayer, that they were okay. Everyone else in the group was secured in their rooms, but they were in the restaurant. And the terrorists, in this case, entered the Trident Hotel, shot people at the front desk, and then went into a restaurant and then made their way around the corner. The two hotels are connected. Mm-hmm. And went straight in the Oberoi. The Tiffin restaurant was open to the lobby, and they just came in. And when the guests had heard the shots from the Trident and they saw the terrorists rounding the corner, everybody dove under the tables. Sure. And the terrorists just went in and just began going table to table. So they were eventually, I think the Indian commandos had eventually come. They went from the restaurant on up to the rooms and so forth. And both of them were eventually killed by the commandos.
I'm so sorry about that. So how did you, and when did you decide to take your experience and put it out for people to, receive it?
Well, there was really two parts to this, because part of it was that because we were a spiritual group of the Synchronicity Foundation, we had a website. And so when Alan and Naomi's photos were posted on the news and where they were from, what group they were with, so people from around the world started sending messages and prayers of love to us, and especially to me, since I was the wife and mother. And we got messages from people of all faiths: Hindus, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, atheists, people of no faith, but they were all messages of love. And to me, that connected me very personally and very directly to the world family. I mean, most of us would agree, oh yes, we're a world family, but to really experience it directly like that in such a personal way was extremely powerful. And it was because of that the media then came and they wanted to interview myself and the spiritual director of Synchronicity, because he was there trapped in his room with his assistants. And so now I was in such a state that, but because I'd received all these messages from around the world, I felt I wanted to share that love with these people, because I felt there was a message to share. When I saw the photo of the lone surviving terrorist, Ajmal Kasab, I did hear the words, "Forgive them, they know not what they do," come into me. And I'm not saying I knew exactly what that would mean in this case, but it felt right. And I said, yes, there's already too much hate. We must send love and compassion for those who became so disconnected from their own selves, their own essence, their own humanity. They were completely separated from their own humanness, that they were able to kill people like that, innocent people. They lost that connection. So that's what I felt compassion for. And that's what is their disregard for human life. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't be punished by the full extent of the law, which he was. But he was the same age as one of my sons. So it was just absolutely surreal to see this young man in his early 20s there. What happened to him? That he got to that place, that he was capable of such a monstrous act. What happened? So that's where compassion for that got broken inside of him. Something got killed inside of him. So so that was the beginning of it. And I felt it was more important that we counterbalance terrorism, not with more hate and more anger. Of course, the law has to be followed. That's another thing. But what about us? What are we going to carry around with us? So I felt what the world needs more of is love. And to put that into practice in our everyday lives with our own family, our own friends, that we would be the opposite of terrorists. So I made a commitment that I was going to dedicate the rest of my life to becoming the opposite of a terrorist and become love like an extremist. I mean, I wasn't capable of being a terrorist before this happened, but my focus is now much more on loving like an extremist and learning what that means in everyday life, practical, down in the trenches. You know, what does it mean with people that you work with and people that you go to school with and people that you live with? What does that look like? Because we all have upsets every single day. Things happen. We're humans, so there's going to be a lot of things going on. So what does it mean to love? So that was my journey. That was my path. That became my spiritual path. And that's what the book is about. That's what that is. How to love like an extremist. I'll break it into small parts for you. And what does forgiveness really mean? What does it really mean? It does not mean to condone or to pardon. No. It means to keep your heart open, because otherwise I would be held hostage by the terrorists for the rest of my life. And then they win. They've killed another person who's still alive. And I'm going to have to walk around with that. So no, I will not let them take my heart away. No, that's for me. You will not take my love away. So I will continue to love.
Sure. How do you, so I know you have written this book, which, as you are saying, is about spreading the message of love and loving like an extremist. I mean, I find it fascinating just to think about it. But what would be I mean, I understand that you don't have any hatred in your heart, but how do you go out and take this message out to people, or a message of love? I mean, I was in Yeah, go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, and then I would like you to share your experience as well. It's not just a message of love. It's we have to live it and put it into practice. That's the important part in all of this. And it's not that I have no hatred in my heart. I'm capable of hating. I hate what happened. I will never love what happened. So I'm not pretending to love what happened just because it happened. I will let that be as it is. But on the other hand, I will also continue to love life and to love the people in my life now. I have 2 sons, I have family, friends, there's a world family. And in Mumbai, I had a chance to meet some of the world family, which was amazing. So I was reborn in Mumbai, the very place where my family was killed. Why? It was because of the people in Mumbai.
Sure.
I don't know where you are, but you've probably been to Mumbai, or it's India. India. There's a spirit of Mumbai. There's a spirit of India. Always celebrating something. You can't kill that spirit.
Sure.
And I got to experience that directly. So that revived me and renewed me in a lot of ways. It inspired me. So it's really, I think it was really my experience in India that inspired me to write the book.
Sure. I was actually in New York City when September 11th happened, and now I live in Delhi. And
Wow.
I guess some of these cities, whether it is London, whether it is New York, whether it is Mumbai, Delhi has seen its own fair share of terrorist attacks as well.
Of course.
Some of these cities, the way they just sprung back to life is incredible. The way, the resilience that it creates for people. But I guess within that resilience, there are people that would take that resilience in the form of hatred, in the form of, yeah, it may happen. And then there are people like you who would take that experience, who would take that journey and convert that into a world family, talk about the concept of love within that, and talk about this concept of loving like an extremist. And I understand that you definitely, you can't like the incident as it happened. Of course you can't. And I can understand that it may be feasible. And what a lot of people say, it is feasible to generate that love for the community. But how do you generate love, or how do you even generate acceptance for the one that was responsible for doing it?
Yes. It's a gradual process. It doesn't happen overnight. It starts with a willingness to connect with life and to stay connected to life. Otherwise, I'm going to get separated from everything, and I'm not going to be able to be inspired to contribute anything to life because I'm still here. I'm still here. So what kind of life do I want to live now? Who do I need to be in order to have any happiness or joy, which I didn't feel for a long time, but I'm beginning to feel that now, but it's been 13 years later.
Sure.
So along with the tears, the reason we feel sad and grief is because of love. The reason that we're angry is because of love. It's because we love the people, that we love life. And this was an affront to life. It was a total disregard for life. So we grieve that loss. I feel that very deeply, that there were 172 people that were killed, and then many more injured, and then the family members and friends that were affected by all of it. And I met many of those people. So it has a ripple effect, but we can have a ripple effect also.
Sure.
And we're still here. So we have to slow down, and we have to allow ourselves to experience the anger fully. And we don't have to like what happened, but we acknowledge that it did happen. It's a reality. And that's where acceptance is there, but it's not a passive kind of acceptance. It's an acceptance that says, okay, where do we go from here? I want to move forward. So I'm going to accept that this now happened. It's impacted me in this way. And now, how will I transmute this this dark, hateful thing that happened. How can I take that and transmute it into a treasure to give back to the world, to the hearts that are still here, and connect those hearts to each other, that maybe we could help to prevent such things in the future by learning to find ways to work together so that our disconnection from each other doesn't lead to this sort of thing.
Sure, sure. And since you are in the US, can you talk a little bit more about? I mean, one thing is, terrorism as it happened on 9/11 or as it happened on 26/11. But can you talk a little bit more about that kind of a feeling of love or that kind of a feeling of world family? What are you doing in terms of helping create that within US itself, which at this point of time seems perhaps the most divided it has ever been?
You're absolutely right. It is. It's the most divided it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And there are all kinds of factions. And what's happening is people they're stuck. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are stuck in blame and wanting to blame someone and making someone else wrong. And all their energies all caught up in that.
Sure.
And instead of first connecting and accepting that someone has a different point of view and maybe trying to have a conversation and learn from each other so that maybe another kind of solution could come out of that.
Sure.
Happenings. So I'm not doing anything directly except living my own life that way. And I've been spending time this year on the book, writing this out. Mm-hmm. And I don't have anything organized here in the US right now. I've been taking a couple of years to write the book, and I'm creating classes online, inner peace meditations. I'm offering on a platform that is a UK-based website, but it's available to everybody. And I was doing live streams and YouTube videos and things like that. I mean, just things on that level. So now that the book is done, I live at a meditation sanctuary. And so we right now are in the process of reopening, although right now things are still up in the air with the coronavirus situation. But we want to be having retreats. It's a holistic retreat center. So it's where people can come and get balanced. The way to love is to get in touch with the source of love within. That is within us, because outside of us is not going to provide love.
Sure.
We all know this, but we keep searching for it on the outside, one way or another, whether it's a situation, a person, relationship, money, or this or that, a job. Yeah, we could love all those things, but where's the love actually coming from? Coming from inside of us.
Sure.
And so to be able to get connected to that, the more we are connected, we're connected to the source of love, the source of our own, the life force that fuels our experience. That's where true power is. So it begins with self-love, self-forgiveness, self-acceptance, and being patient with ourselves, connecting, and then extending to our friends and our family, all of that, and then across the globe. Because imagine if more and more people did that, that'll shift the way that we interact with each other, the way we solve our problems, the kinds of work that we can do together. Mm-hmm. It all emanates, from that source, from within ourselves.
Sure. So I know you wrote the book. What are you doing now in terms of promoting the book so that this message, this beautiful message that you have written, reaches out to more and more people? And how did you, that's one part. And the other part is, I want to know, how did you decide to write the book? Who kind of, gave you the inspiration, or who kind of worked you through in writing, in authoring the book?
Well, actually, it was interesting because it started from a big event, a big peace event we did at the I don't remember, it might have been the 5th or 6th anniversary. I don't remember which one it was, but we did a huge thing at the Gateway of India, and there was a Bollywood singer, Rageshwari Lumba, that was there, and I met her. Beautiful, beautiful woman. And so we just met, we chatted, and then I think we became friends on Facebook. That was it.
Mhm.
And in the meantime, I was going to England, and I was in London, and she had married a British Indian barrister and was now living in London. And she contacted me and said, "Why don't you come for coffee?" I said, "Oh, I'm in London, of course." So we meet. She said, "I have to introduce you to a friend of mine, Milay Ashwarya, who runs Penguin India. I
Mhm.
think they should publish a book." I thought, oh gosh, I had sent an outline of a book like 2 or 3 years before to Penguin, and they rejected it. So it must not have been the right time, or I didn't get the right formula right. So Millie said, "Yes, send me a proposal. We wanted you to teach people about peace and love." And this time I got the formula right. So they accepted it.
Fantastic. I actually have met Millie a couple of times. She's brilliant. So I'm really glad that you got
I'm
connected.
very grateful. Yeah.
Yep. In fact, there are a few more authors from Penguin who are actually participating in the literature festival, and
Excellent.
and,
Wonderful.
and we are also having some awards for authors and for books and for publishers. And Penguin, of course, I mean, is always going to be a part of any such awards that get generated. Whether they win or not will get announced, in a couple of days. But yeah, I mean, they are a big part of the literature
I think
festival.
it's a beautiful event. I think it's a wonderful for you to do this. And this is how this creates connection with people. This touches people's hearts, opens their minds, inspires people. This is art, and so I think it's really important to have things like this. So thank you for organizing. And
Are you planning to be in India as for the promotion of the book?
at some point, yes. Right now, I think we need to wait for things to settle down a bit with traveling and the virus, but maybe certainly in 2022, maybe I'll be able to be there for the 14th anniversary of the 26/11 attacks.
Sure.
So I will then come to Mumbai. If I come to Mumbai, I'll come to Delhi.
Sure.
Yes.
Hopefully we will be out of this coronavirus variants by then. Right now,
I think we will. I
it
think we
seems
will.
like a couple of months back things were returning more to normal, but
They will.
last couple of weeks we have gone back to where we came from. So things are starting to not look as nice, at least at this point of time.
Oh dear.
But it will be great, once this is over, for you to come here, for you to host a few events, or meet a few people, talk about your book. I think the message that you have put across is fantastic, and it's a message that everybody needs today. It's not just a message that people in India need. It's a message that people in the US need. It's a message that people in Middle East need. It's a message that people in Europe need. I mean, we are all starting to drift away. We are all starting to move away from each other, in some way,
I
shape,
will.
or form.
I'll be honest with you. It's a message I need, and that's I wrote the book for me too, so I could, because this helps me stay connected.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yes.
can you talk a little bit about your meditation group? What sort of exercises? Where is it? Where exactly? Which city is it based in?
It's outside of Charlottesville, Virginia,
Okay.
which is in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And that's about 3 hours from Washington, D.C., so in the eastern part of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And the retreat center was founded by Master Charles Cannon. He passed away a couple of years ago, but he had his spiritual training in India at Ganesh Puri. Okay. With Paramahansa Muktananda. And he was there for 12 years and studied the Vedic scriptures and literature and all that, and was actually ordained as a Vedic monk in that tradition. And before Muktananda passed on, he said, go back to the West and make meditation easier for Westerners, modernize it. So that's exactly what he did. He went back, and instead of being Swami Vivekananda, he became Brother Charles. And he was interested in music and sound technology. And as you know, sound, I mean, the mantras and chants produce a harmonic resonance and vibration in the nervous system, which allows the mind to relax and expand. So you can also use digital technology by listening to headphones to do that. So he created that as kind of a sonic, holodynamic sonic technology. And then over that, he put ocean or just slow music. And so that became synchronicity, high-tech meditation. And my husband and I had been TM, transcendental meditation teachers and meditators for many, many, many years. So Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was our, guru, our first guru, and he was friends with Muktananda. But so we loved meditation. I'd been meditating since I was 16 years old, and I became a TM teacher at 17. So I've always had that interest. And so we had a chance to actually meet a meditation master in person who had a smaller group, so you could actually have a closer relationship and have closer guidance. And that's what that was really all about, is spending, having a whole lifestyle that revolved around that. I have since learned that, there's hundreds of ways to meditate, and some of them are sitting down and closing the eyes in silence. Some of it is about chanting. Some of it is about mantras. And some you can meditate. The meditation is being 100 or 1,000% present in the moment. And you could do that playing golf. You could do it, a lot of jogging or walking, but it's bringing to the present moment. I love sitting and closing my eyes. That's the kind of meditation I love to do. But to have, and it's valuable to have some quiet time every day to get to know the self, with a capital S, the self that exists underneath all of the noise and the busyness and the activity. There's a silence there, like the ocean is silent at the depths of the ocean. We have that inside of us. But to get to it, we have to slow down, breathe, and allow it just to be there. And if you just stop for a moment, there's a very subtle pulsation that's there. And there's a certain silence there, even if there's thoughts going on the surface. But to be able to integrate both is then what gives you the power to create the kind of life and experiences you choose to have. And the book about forgiveness is a choice, is because to be unforgiving locks up a part of us and keeps us anchored to anger and hatred and thoughts of revenge. So we're going to have to carry that weight around with us. So forgiveness is a path to freedom, so that we can be fully who we are and let the past be there, whatever it was. But we move forward. It does. So we move forward in a more powerful way when we allow forgiveness to take place. But it may take some time to get there. So the book is a way to step by step get you to forgiveness, and then the outcome, once you've forgiven, what that opens up for you.
Okay, that's a beautiful message. I'm sure there will be many who would want to line up by the book, and receive this message in its full extent. For your meditation center, do you have a website? Do you do online?
Yes, it's synchronicity.org.
Okay.
Synchronicity.org.
Okay.
And then there's a whole sanctuary website, but that's more if you are actually going to be able to go there. But for now, for the Indians listening, synchronicity.org, there's a sample that you can get. I think all you have to do is give your email, but you get a whole 15 minutes of the sound technology.
Mhm.
and you can try it out, and that's for free.
Okay.
And then all of the soundtracks are there. And there's a meditation programs for beginners, and that can lead you. And then there's meditation programs for as you're meditating longer, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper.
Mhm.
So it takes you on a journey, that's for sure. Or you can just get a simple soundtrack and enjoy it.
Okay. I will certainly be checking it out myself. Interestingly,
Synchronicity.org. You could get one. It's called One Drop. I think is the free sample. One Drop.
fantastic. Interestingly, I have been working in mental health area for the last some time myself as well. We just
Wonderful.
just launching an application which will become perhaps the first mental health marketplace, creating a two-way marketplace
Wonderful.
around that.
Beautiful.
And one of the things that we are integrating in that is the various avenues for people to generate peace, generate happiness. And I guess
Oh, how wonderful.
your form of music, your form of meditation is definitely something that I would want to add to our application, the Soul Wellness application. I will
That sounds beautiful.
I'll certainly get in touch with you, and perhaps there is something more, that can come out of this session. Of course, the audience, I'm sure, will love it. The message that you are sending is so powerful. It is so embracing, so enlightening. I'm sure it's going to do really well with people. And
Thank you.
this concept of love like an extremist, I mean, I sure will read the book in its totality, sure will want to get more, and sure will want to embrace the concept. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much for that.
And thank you. Thank you for having me and for listening. And whoever's out there listening, I hope to meet you sometime in India.
Thank
And
you.
I
Any
wish you well on your journeys.
any last thoughts, anything that you want to leave our audience with?
I would like to just say to people, just go easy on yourselves. Love yourselves. Care for yourself. Take care of yourself. Nourish yourself. And that's when you'll have the most to give to your loved ones and to your world. But take care of yourself from within, and then the rest will take care of itself as you flow out into your life.
Sure, that's a wonderful thought. On that brilliant note, thank you so much, Kia, for coming here, for being a part of the PragatiE Vichaar Literature Festival. We would love to host you on your trip down to India whenever you are able to make it happen.
How wonderful.
We are based in Delhi and would love to receive you when you are here.
I love the energy of Delhi. I spent a month there and we did some wonderful programs with people. Beautiful. Wonderful energy in Delhi. Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.